So I'm going to go ahead and just introduce myself. My name is Alejandra Arguelles. I'm one of the program coordinators at the Idea Center. My pronouns are she, her, hers. Welcome to today's Y session. Today we have the Engineering and Study Abroad program. I'll pass it on over shortly. Just know that the session is being recorded, and please be active in the Q&A in the chat for any questions that you all have. This video will be posted within the next week on the Idea Center YouTube channel. I'll go ahead and pass it on over to Jay.
Thank you, Alejandro. Welcome, everyone. Great to virtually be with you today. My name is Jay Meinert, and I work in the Study Abroad office. And one of the areas that I'm responsible for is Jacobs School of Engineering, to help engineering students identify study abroad programs that would work for them, and to really help you in the process of learning to study abroad and to go abroad. So I've got a lot of information to share with you this hour, and definitely will hopefully have time for some Q&A if we don't get to your questions within the hour in terms of my presentation. But I kind of wanted to get us started with a special guest we have today. I have with me a student who is a Jacobs student. He's MAE. He studied abroad at Lund University in Sweden. John Lee is with us, and so I'm going to have John kind of start out by explaining what his experiences were at Lund and what life was like as an engineering student studying abroad. So John, would you like to take it away?
Sure. Hi everyone, so my name is John. So like what Jay mentioned, I just recently came back from Lund University, and I was supposed to be there for like academic year, but due to COVID, I had to come back in March. And I'm a third-year transfer student, and my major in mechanical engineering. I'm also part of the Marshall College. And also, like, some people might wonder like how, like, if you're an engineering majors, like you might have to like fifth year or like third year transfer. But I met a lot of like other engineering students while abroad, and they also for those who did like only fall semester, they're able to stay on track. So that's staying on track and graduating 4 years is possible. And also, like, some of the reasons for like choosing to study in Lund University is because I wanted to like travel around Europe, and also I wanted to like learn different language, and like I want to go somewhere that offers a academic year program. Next slide, please. And just introduction to Lund University. So like Lund University has a semester system with like 2 different periods in each semester. And one period is about 2 or 3 classes. So in regular semester system, you take about like 5 to 6 classes. But in Sweden, like Swedish universities, they separate the semester into like 2 different periods, so you could focus much better on the fewer classes that you have. And some of the classes I took as an engineering student were transferred as a technical elective courses, and also as a major courses. And like, since my goal was to learn different language, I also took a Swedish language course throughout the time I was there. So just to explain what the period system is, that since I stayed for like a semester and a half, like a semester and a half, like I was able to get 3 semester worth of classes during my time at Lund University. So at Lund University, there's other like social activities that you could join. Like there's like nations and clubs, and also like when you go there as a fall semester exchange student, there are like orientation program where there's a lot of events. And the city of Lund, it's small, but it offers like a lot of events throughout the year, and a lot of them are free or for discount as the student. And also, if your goal is to learn a different language, like Swedish language, there are language learning programs for free throughout the city of Lund, and it's offered like multiple times a week. And one of them is called language cafes, and more language cafe is more about learning a different conversational Swedish. and like any type of like skill levels are welcome there. And in Sweden, there's like even if you don't know Swedish, like English is common there. Like a lot of people speak English there. So even if you don't know any Swedish, or if you're not interested in learning Swedish, you could live like fine. Next slide, please.
There is one question for you,
Yes.
John, in the Q&A. What would you say is the number one challenge that engineering majors face when studying abroad?
Number one challenge is, I guess it's just the scheduling issues. Cause I, so even the courses that you see on like during the study abroad, like course titles at your host university versus like versus the courses that you find at UC San Diego, like even though course names are similar, like the courses might be different, like the content might be different, so it might not be able to be transferred over. But before you go and before you take the classes, like for me, like particularly like MA department has a petition program, like pre-approval petitions. And once you submit the pre-approval petition, you know that if the courses that you're planning to take meets the requirements for your majors.
Thank you. And then Jay, if there's anything you want to add?
No, that's thank you, John. I think John hit it right on the head. It's very important for the courses, setting up the courses before you get on the plane and making sure your Jacob's advisors are cool with the courses that you choose.
And should we answer another Q&A? Or
you can go ahead and talk about Gilman, John. Go for it.
Oh, for okay, so for the so in order to fund my trip, so I use like several financial sources. So like if you choose to go study abroad through UCAP program, and if you're like a financial aid recipient, like your financial aid transfers over to UCAP. And also there are like a bunch of like different types of scholarships that are available, like such as UC San Diego scholarship, UCAP scholarship, college scholarships, and the study abroad office scholarships. And also there is another like outside source that I used was a Gilman International Scholarship. And Gilman International Scholarship is like sponsored by the Department of State. And it was one of the scholarships that helped me the most. And the process to apply for those Gilman International Scholarship is easy. You just have to like submit like different essays, like such as the ones that you've been working on for different types of scholarships, and also like statement of like a project that you'll probably do like once you return. And next slide, please. And just last thing that I will talk about is just to like some of the tips for like studying abroad as an engineering major. So like you should always like start your study abroad application process early, because like you have to do your own research for different schools, and especially like the start date and the courses, like the ones I mentioned before. And I just want to emphasize the start date part, because of as an engineering major, like internship is one of the biggest part of like it's one of the important things that you have to do while you're a student as an engineering major. And for me, like I had a Lund University because of there's a ILP program, which is the intensive language program that started about 2 to 3 weeks before actual fall semester started. Like because of that, like it overlapped with my internship schedule, but I was able to negotiate with the internship in order to like negotiate the end date and do like both internship and study abroad. And another tip is to like, you should always like talk to the college major and study abroad advisors so you could make sure to stay on track. And always like start your scholarship applications early, because like some may require a letter of recommendation, and always like just check up on the deadlines and see deadlines and just apply for everything that you qualify for. And lastly, just ask advisors or study abroad office for any questions that you have. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, John. John had some great tips for you. I'm going to kind of reinforce some of those tips that John shared with us throughout the rest of this presentation. I know John has to attend class in a little bit, so he can't stay with us for the whole time, but if you have questions specifically for John, you know, what it was like at Lund or other questions that you might have, feel free to email or back message the study abroad office, and my name's Jay. Just ask to get in touch with John via me, and I can definitely make that happen. So thank you again, John. Definitely appreciated a firsthand experience of a returning engineering student who studied abroad at a very popular destination too, I might add, in terms of Lund, Sweden. I want to kind of start my section off by just acknowledging the elephant in the room, the reality that we have facing us right now, and that's COVID, and how COVID has impacted study abroad and the work that we do in terms of trying to get students in places around the world. It certainly has disrupted our flow, right? We had to bring students like John back last year. We've had to suspend or cancel programs that were supposed to be running last summer, and then right now in fall, and we're still waiting to hear about this spring. And so with the vaccine and with promises of a better horizon, we're really excited. And we're actually continuing right now to process applications for the 21-22 academic year cycle. So, so definitely we encourage students to create their plan, create their study abroad plan, but also have a plan B. Meaning, you know, identify courses that you would take here at home if your study abroad plans are to fall through. Hopefully that won't happen, but right now we're just encouraging like a plan A and plan B approach with flexibility. And if you're not thinking about going abroad until maybe summer, you know, next summer, like 22, or later on down the line in terms of your engineering journey, then that's actually good. You know, it'll give us some time to kind of recalibrate our world and get students back on airplanes. So definitely, if you have questions about timing, that's a big issue, right, with study abroad. And so we want to know when you want to go, and you know that's something that you and your study abroad advisor can talk about more. So real quickly, John kind of alluded to this in his bit, but I want to kind of give you a life cycle of what you can expect if you want to study abroad at UC San Diego. The first thing I encourage you to do is get on our website. It's studyabroad.ucsd.edu, and check out the First Steps video that we have on our website, or you're welcome to come and hear a live First Step session that we do weekly. And that what First Steps does is it kind of gives you an overview, things that you should be thinking about as you start your process. And then we want you to come and talk to us. I'm always willing and wanting to talk to you as an engineering student. You're welcome to speak with anyone in our office. And a meeting with a study abroad advisor will kind of give you the lay of the land in terms of things that you need to be thinking about and programs that might interest you. And once you have that discussion, then we want you to research programs. We want you to get on our website. We want you to look at the various programs that we offer. And I'll speak a little bit about what the different programs are in my presentation. But part of your research in terms of finding programs is finding courses. We want you to actually find some courses that are interesting to you. And then once you find those courses, once you zero in on maybe 2 or 3 programs that you might be excited about, we want you to then go meet with your Jacobs major advisors and faculty and discuss those courses. Say, hey, you know, like John mentioned, you know, you want to make sure that you're going to get the credits that you take abroad back here at UCSD. And so discussing your courses with your major advisor is very important. It's a very important part of the process. And then once you kind of get a green light from your department, then you can come back and meet with our advisors to go through the application process. Application process, it's not difficult, but there's several steps involved, right? You have to figure out the visa, you have to make sure you have your passport, you have to figure out your housing. All of these little pieces have to come together. And so our advisors in our office are here to help walk you through that process. And then you get on a plane and you study abroad. And so that's really the quick life cycle of a study abroad planning experience. When you come back from your study abroad experience, it's important that you bring back the work that you did abroad, because a lot of times you will petition your courses when you come back. And petitioning courses basically means you're going to sit back down with your advisors at Jacobs and say, yep, I took what I said I was going to take. Here it is. And that process is just meant to ensure that, if you say you're going to take some electrical engineering course, they want to make sure that you took that course and not like underwater basket weaving or something like that. And so that's basically it in terms of the process. And you'll note that meeting with the study abroad advisor happens at several times in this process. And we want to underscore that we want you to be sure to be welcome to come in and ask us any questions, either in person, virtual person, or through the VAC. That's our preferred method of communication. All right. I mentioned courses, and in terms of finding courses, I'll just say this. John went abroad with the UC EAP program. And real quickly, if you haven't heard of what UC EAP is a UC program, right? And if you go abroad with UC EAP, you're going to be earning UC credit automatically. And if you have any kind of UC-based financial aid, you can potentially use that on an EAP program as well. And the grades that you take, or the grades that you earn rather, on an EAP program will be calculated into your GPA here at home. And so for that reason, or for those reasons, EAP is probably the most popular option for Jacobs engineering students. And I put a screenshot on the left here of the menu bar on the EAP website. You can find the EAP website through our website. And I encourage you to, you can search for all the courses under any program that you want to research under their academics tab. So that'll be a good place for you to go to find all the courses that a program offers. Also, EAP keeps a catalog, a course catalog. Any class that a student through the UC EAP program has taken, they'll put it in the course catalog. And I've outlined that in yellow, where you can click on the course catalog and peruse, what have students taken in bioengineering, or what about, civil engineering or mechanical engineering or whatever. So you can find a lot of courses through there. But keep in mind, that's just a list of courses that students have already taken. It may not have all the courses that are available to you. That's where you could go to the actual program and click on the academics tab. And then I wanted to also give a shout out to the CSE major, the MAE major, and the ECE majors, because those majors actually have on their websites a list of previously taken courses. And that can be helpful for you as well in your research. So if you have a phone handy before Alejandra posts this up on the Idea Center, you can take a picture of these URLs and go check out those lists of courses, because that can sometimes help you as well identify good programs to take and everything. All right, and so in terms of courses, let's say like John's program at Lund, typically in a semester, it's 3 to 4 courses. Let's say you want to find 2 courses that you want to take in engineering. I encourage you to try to find, 3 or 4, like a couple extra, just in case one of the courses you're looking for doesn't work out, or, you have something in your back pocket. I can tell you, and John mentioned this too in his remarks, most of the classes that students take abroad, they'll take for their technical elective courses. And that's just, basically because, it's easier to find a course that matches the technical elective rather than finding, I've got to take this exact course. And I got to find a course out there in the world that exactly matches that content. And so that it's not impossible, but that can sometimes be more tricky. And so I see that a lot of engineering students are attracted to maybe technical electives if they can get that taken care of on their courses abroad. And of course, I would be remiss without mentioning too, a lot of engineering students may want to take general education requirement courses abroad too. And you're certainly welcome to do that. Either mix it up or just take GEs or only take engineering. There's a lot of different ways to do it. All right. So we've been talking about EAP, and I'm going to go through a lot for the next few slides here, a lot of the EAP options that I see engineering students at UCSD taking or being interested in. Again, the UC EAP program is open to UC students only, and you will be likely going abroad and taking classes with students from other UC campuses, and as well as maybe other students from UCSD. And I put two URLs on here. One is the, if you wanted to search for all the engineering courses that EAP offers, I'm sorry, all of the engineering type programs that EAP offers, you can click on that top URL. And then they also have another search function for computer science. You don't have to worry about the URL, because if you go to their search, their menu tab, and just click on discipline, you will find engineering in there, and you'll find computer science in there. And so they redid their website last year. I'm kind of still learning it, navigating it, but yeah, it's a really helpful site for you in terms of identifying some cool EAP programs. I want to start with EAP summer, right? Because summertime is our most popular time for students to go abroad, not only for engineering, but across the board at UCSD. If you go abroad in the summer, you don't have to worry about rearranging your academic plans during the year, and you get to do something fun in the summer. It's a really popular time. In terms of, I did get a question here, I'm just going to go ahead and answer this live. Is it too late now to start looking into a summer 2021 program? Unfortunately, the answer is probably yes, just because a lot of the deadlines for those programs have already passed. It takes a little bit of time to kind of go through the application process, but if you're looking at summer 2022, then that's certainly an option. In terms of summer, John mentioned this too in his remarks. I know a lot of you are interested in paid internships. It's like, oh, I want to do a paid internship in LA or San Francisco or here in San Diego. And I understand that. And so if you're far along in your academic journey, that may be a dilemma that you're faced with. Do I want to study abroad and have an experience abroad, or do I want to just go ahead and get a paid internship? And so, it's really, it's up to you in terms of when you do it. I'd say the majority of students will go abroad like their summer of their junior year or maybe their sophomore year, just because when they do get up there in terms of their last summer, they typically want to do a paid engineering internship. But study abroad can give you both in terms of an internship abroad or research experience abroad. And I have a list here. There are engineering research opportunities that you can do through EAP, where basically it's a full-time summer lab research program. And these are all located in Asia. The majority in Japan. We got one in Taipei, one in Singapore, and also one in Hong Kong. And these are summer options. They're done in English, and you basically would be placed with an engineering faculty to do whatever research project she or he is engaged in. But these are very popular options, and so if you wanted to check it out. Also, sometimes students don't want to maybe go to Asia or do a research. They might want to study abroad in the summer somewhere else. And so we are seeing different options come up for EAP, and I've put down a list here of some of those more popular options. Just know that EAP, they have a couple different ways you can study abroad through EAP. One way is through their UC centers, and EAP has UC centers all around the world. And UC centers are basically just centers where UC EAP students come together, and you're taking classes pretty much with just the other UC students. Another way to study abroad is like John, where you go to a school like Lund or another university and you immerse yourself in that university. Yes, you'll be taking courses with other UC students, but you'll also be taking courses with the students who are native to that country and other international students. At UC Center Madrid, they have this program called Python and Data Science, which it teaches students how to code and learn Python. That's a pretty popular option for some students. London is pretty popular as well with our students. I'd say Queen Mary Summer School in London and University College of London are two popular options. There are some others if you wanted to kind of expand your search. Maastricht in the Netherlands has a summer school, and Berlin is a very popular option as well. Technical University has a summer school option in Berlin. And all of these programs on this list are, it's in English. You can learn, the courses are taught in English. And I'd say Yonsei in South Korea is a very popular option, of course, as well. Yonsei is always popular with our students. And in terms of other options, if you are able to go abroad during the year, and there's pros and cons with each, right? Summertime allows you to just do a fun summertime, but it's shorter in duration. If you go abroad during the year, fall quarter, which is fall semester around the world, or spring semester, which would take you away, winter quarter and spring quarter typically, it's longer, right? It's a longer experience. And so a lot of students, if you can do it, will choose to do those options. And so you'll see just a list. Again, this list is not a exhaustive list, but it is, these tend to be the more popular options that we see students in engineering who are interested in studying abroad and taking courses in engineering. This is where a lot of them are interested in going. University of Lund is at the top. Of course, it's just a really popular option. There's so many engineering options there. It's just across the way from Copenhagen, Denmark. It's a really cool spot, right? Carlos Tracero in Madrid, Melbourne in Australia, you know, you can kind of go down the list. And now that I'm on the slide, I'd actually love to take this opportunity to introduce our study abroad faculty co-director, Professor Jan Kleisel. You'll see him down there. Professor Kleisel works really closely with our office in terms of helping me and my colleagues trying to get you all, engineering students, to study abroad. And I know that Professor Kleisel has done a lot of work, sort of course mapping some schools, including Lund and Carlos Tracero. I know that he's been doing work with those two schools. So I just love to have Professor Kleisel just maybe say a few words about these programs and maybe any bits of wisdom he can depart for us. Jan, would you like to say something?
Yeah, first of all, please call me Jan. We're pretty informal here, in an international family. Yeah, so I'm from Germany originally. I actually never went abroad myself, which I'm deeply regret in my undergrad days. But I spent about 1 year hanging out with the exchange students from across Europe in the Erasmus program, which is a very popular program in Europe. And man, did I have fun that year. It was the best year of my life. So I hope you'll have the same experience going forward. So of course, our students are very ambitious, and I'm very aware of that. So we also want to make sure that wherever you go, you don't only have fun, but you also feel like you're getting your money's worth in terms of your education and not falling behind in your coursework at home. I'm in mechanical engineering, aerospace engineering. Our majors are super tough. I'm sure as are yours across the Jacob School. And so it may seem daunting to try to fit in a study abroad semester, even a year abroad. But as you can see firsthand from John, who is here, it's possible. And as I looked more into detail, actually was surprised how easy it was. What's often, I think, tough for you students is that for you to figure out, hey, this course I should take next year, the fluid mechanics, how can I match that at a different university? And it's tough for you because you have no idea what the course is about, right? You've never taken it, you have done nothing that prepares you for it, and it seems daunting for you to make that connection. But that's where I come in. So anything I can help with trying to match courses at different universities, I can basically look at the curriculum. To me, these words mean something that didn't mean anything to me 20 years ago. So now they mean something to me, and I can do it very quickly to help you find the right mix of courses, some TEs maybe, a few required courses, and then some college courses. And then you have the right mix together that will allow you to stay on track for your degree at UCSD. Yeah, so summary, I wouldn't be too worried about wasting a quarter semester. It's really well spent time. You grow as a person, you meet new people, you learn new culture, you get taught in a different way, but then you come back and you still get back on track with your very strong degree at UCSD. You'll be a very marketable, even more marketable person coming out of it with those experiences in your backpack. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jan. Definitely appreciative I have to call you professor though, you know, you're a big man on campus now, right? Right on, thank you, Jan. And Jan's right, I mean, he's, you know, you are marketable if you do get that global engagement. You know, it's nothing better to say, hey, I was on a study abroad experience and I have global experience. I have intercultural acumen, and you know, those things look really good to recruiters and future employers, especially in engineering, which is a very, as you know, very global field. And so definitely, and I've been really appreciative of Jan because when I speak with students in engineering, especially MAE students, I'll often refer them to Jan, who is just a wealth of information and just a really helpful resource for our students. So yeah, definitely appreciative. In terms of other options here, I just wanted to highlight United Kingdom, not to minimize anywhere else in the world, but I do have to say UK has a lot of programs and they have a lot of schools. And so beyond the school list that I said, or I mentioned in my last slide, just to give a shout out to the United Kingdom, the attractive thing about the UK is obviously they speak English. And they have a lot of universities. There's 15 different options in both England and Scotland, which comprise the United Kingdom for UCEAP. The popular ones that I tend to see come up a lot are University of Edinburgh in Scotland, Queen Mary down in London town, and University College of London are very popular. And then I also put here Imperial College of London. I love it when students from UCSD can go to Imperial. Imperial is a year-long option. You have to go to Imperial for a whole year. If you can do that, if you can spend a whole year in London though, any kind of engineering course you could ever hope to find, you're probably gonna find it in Imperial. It's a really strong engineering school, and all of these schools are really, but anytime a student does a year-long experience in Imperial, they usually come back and say, yeah, it was super hard, but it was one of the best decisions I made. So definitely wanted to throw that out there. But all the other options, if you wanted to go abroad during the year, typically they are just for you would only have to go for either fall semester or spring semester. Which, like I said, if you go for fall semester, you only have to be gone from UCSD for fall quarter usually. And then spring semester, you'd be gone for both winter quarter and spring quarter. But University of Edinburgh is really popular if you're a CSE major. If you're in computer science, they have a ton of great CSE courses. Other disciplines in engineering can also find what they're looking for in Edinburgh. And then London just has a lot of options. I didn't put them all. Bristol, LSE, and there's a whole bunch of schools in the United Kingdom. And if you're would like to study abroad in the UK, it definitely is a good option for you. There's other options too that aren't in English. Obviously, English is not spoken everywhere, although it's becoming more and more like that, it seems like. But there are some great options where you would be able to take courses in another language. Pontifical Catholic University in Rio, where you take courses in Portuguese, University of Santiago in Chile in Spanish, and then Bordeaux in France. And Jan and I actually just got an email a couple of days ago from the faculty from the University of Santiago, really encouraging UCSD engineering students to attend school in Chile. You know, it's a beautiful city in Santiago. If you speak Spanish fluently or well enough to be able to take courses in Spanish, that might be a really good option for you. And then Bordeaux, a lot of the courses are in French, but they are offering more and more courses in English, and so that might be an option for you as well if you aspire to go to France. Germany, you know, certainly I mentioned Technical University in Berlin. A lot of our German programs during the year, they might need you to know some German or take courses in German. So we'd have to kind of look and see what your options are. Although Technical University, I heard, as well as Bordeaux, are offering more courses in English. So it's a fluid dynamic where you might see a program adding more English courses as they go along. It just depends. So moving on, I'm going to move away from UCEAP, and I'm going to highlight a really popular program that I've been talking a lot with students about, and it's actually run out of UC Davis. UC Davis is kind of like this well-known global campus through the UC. They do a wonderful job of providing a lot of different options, and they invite UCSD and other UC schools to participate in the programs. What's cool about this option is, again, you'd be earning UC credit, but even more importantly, this would be an opportunity for you to take an internship in the summer, not at a university, but at an actual engineering firm. Or a firm or a company that's somewhat tied to your major. And so right now, this summer, and I have to say this summer because every year their programs might change. But this coming summer, they have programs in Argentina, Australia, Japan, and Spain. They just added Japan this year. Next summer, they might add some more. But Argentina, Australia, and Spain have been going on for several years through their program. And so I don't see those guys going away if you want to do this maybe summer of 2022 or something like that. But what's cool is that they're engineering professional internships. They're in English. You only have to have a 2.0, but I know everyone on this call is higher than that in terms of the GPA, of course. And if you want to learn more, just take a screenshot of the URL down below and you can learn more. The coordinator's name is Karen, and I know that for Karen, she was telling me that those internships are open until full. And so if you're interested in learning more, I would just connect with Karen. I think her last name's Lark. You can just say, hey, I'm interested. I'm so-and-so major in engineering at Jacobs. Want to learn more? She can kind of work with you to see what your placement options are. So definitely something to consider in terms of something that isn't a UC EAP program necessarily. And then we offer a lot of options, so much so that sometimes students can get confused, but I'm gonna just basically try to lay this out in clear terms for you. We offer a lot of non-UC based programs. If you've ever heard of something like Semester at Sea or ISA or IS, there's a whole bunch of opportunities that students around the US can study abroad in. But because these programs aren't affiliated with the UC, the courses that you take will come in as transfer credit, right? And if you're on any kind of UC-based financial aid, you wouldn't be able to apply those programs for, or apply those financial aid funds towards this program. That being said, why would students want to choose these options? A, it might offer you something that EAP isn't offering. B, they have pretty competitive pricing. And so you might find a program, even though you can't use your UC aid, you might find a program that's cheaper. And you can apply the courses that you take for whatever requirements you have. It's just that it's transfer credit and you wouldn't, those classes wouldn't be calculated into your GPA. But there's a lot of opportunities out there. Not all of our OAP program providers offer strong engineering though. So if you go down this road, I would encourage you to research AIFS, API, Arcadia, Boston University, CEA, IES, IFSA Butler certainly, and SIT. So those options are really strong. And another caveat too, if you aspire to go abroad through these programs in the summer, double check the calendar, right? Because we're on a quarter system. That makes us really weird. A lot of these programs, they attract students from semesters. And so the program, not all the time, but sometimes the program might start late May or early June, and that won't work for us. And so make sure that the program that you're interested in leaves at a time that you can leave. Okay, but if you can do it, then these are some great options. They also offer internship opportunities and whatnot. And so just some more choices to add to your palette. How do you pay for all this? What's the situation in terms of paying for it? I get this question a lot, and basically the question I get most is how much does it cost? And I always say, look, man, it's like going into a CarMax and asking how much is a car, right? It really depends on what program you choose and what model you choose. There's a lot of different program options. There's different lengths of times, there's different locations, there's different partners. And so that all equals to different price points. And so suffice it to say, and I'm really glad that John mentioned this in his talk, a lot of scholarships and grants are available. And as engineering students know, that you would be pretty competitive for those opportunities if you were to choose to apply for them. I can't guarantee you will get a scholarship, but I can guarantee you won't get a scholarship if you don't apply for a scholarship, right? So we encourage that you make scholarship applications a part of your application process overall. John mentioned this, but EAP offers scholarships. There's national scholarships, like John earned the Gilman Award. That's a great scholarship if you can get it. Every college at UCSD offers scholarships, and so there's different scholarship pools out there. Scholarships come due basically usually around the time a lot of our programs come due, which is winter quarter. And so, yeah, you can basically apply for a scholarship, and you can, a lot of times do like essay writing workshops that help kind of hone your writing to make you more competitive for these scholarships. And so you're encouraged to really check out scholarship opportunities. And like I said, for financial aid, if you are a recipient of financial aid, you can apply your financial aid towards a study abroad experience. And that obviously is a game changer. If you weren't able to do that, not many students would be able to study abroad. And so there's some parts of the world that are very expensive, where you're going to be spending some money and the price tag might be up there. But there's a lot of other places in the world that are cheaper than La Jolla or cheaper than UCSD, and it can be really advantageous for you financially to study abroad in some of these cases. And so we encourage you to kind of look through what your options are and to make the best determination for you in terms of the price points. But it's a process, and we are really, really, really lucky to have a financial aid counselor working full-time in our office. And so once you choose your program and you definitely want to do Lund, or you definitely are down for Carlos Tracer or wherever you want to go, we encourage you to sit down with Tina, our financial aid counselor, and she can kind of walk through what your FAFSA looks like and how it would apply to the program that you've chosen. And so definitely encourage you to make that part of your experience in terms of planning for it as well. All right, I see some questions, and so I'm going to try to address some of these. The first question, it's been up there for a while, have ECE majors traveled abroad, and what equivalent major course they're typically offered? Yes, ECE is a major. All majors at Jacobs can study abroad. There is no major in the engineering school where they cannot study abroad. And so if you wanted to learn, and I posted the URL for ECE up there. They posted courses that students have taken before on their website, and that can really be helpful for you if you're an ECE major. And I also wanted to take the opportunity to shout out our major advising pages. So on our website, if you click on academics, you can find major advising pages for all the majors in engineering. And those will give you resources such as courses, how to find courses, and what your major page, study abroad pages, and all kinds of things. And so definitely bookmark your major advising page for your major, and that'll definitely help. Is it possible to take courses from UCSD remotely while studying abroad? That's a good question. It really depends, and a lot of my answers tend to be that, and I hate to say that, but it's true. If you're on financial aid, there are rules about taking concurrent courses at different places, and so that might be a no-go for you in terms of, say you wanted to take a remote course at UCSD and also study abroad and take courses somewhere else. We would have to talk about that, because that may not be allowed if you're on financial aid or the academic agreements that you have with the university and the admissions office. But I know we're offering more remote programs while COVID is going on. And so there's been questions about, can I take something virtually and then also take courses here? Since I'm here in California anyway, I'm not going anywhere physically. And so these are conversations that we're having actually at the moment. And so it's a fast moving landscape, but definitely you're encouraged to connect with me or to anyone in the study abroad office to kind of help find clarity in that. But typically, when we're back to jumping on airplanes and flying around the world, you're going to be all in terms of whatever school you choose. And that's taking courses at that school, going on excursions, you know, just doing everything you do when you're on study abroad at that one location. Let's see, do all study abroad opportunities allow for course pre-approvals for the ECE or CSE departments? The notion of getting a course looked at before you hop on the plane is important. And that's true for every single engineering major, not just ECE or CSE. We don't want you to get on a plane until you've talked about your courses with your advisor. And Jan, definitely you know more than me in terms of this end of it. So feel free to weigh in about any kind of tips you might offer students who are thinking about looking over courses with their faculty and advisors.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to provide some advice here. So first of all, there's actually a list of previously approved courses that Jay put together at the Study Abroad website. So you can look for your major. You can look what courses have been taken abroad in the past, and that's then a pretty high chance of that course still being legit approvable for your department. Now that doesn't happen everybody, but I think it covers about 3/4 of all cases. But for those who are more creative and want to go somewhere else where nobody has been before, the pioneers, then it's important to talk to a professor or your advisor and figure out what courses are critical for you to take, and then figure out which locations offer those courses. And that's where really a professor helping you would be very advisable, because they can do things much faster than you can, and it will be less frustrating for you if you do. So I can't guarantee that anybody will help you in your departments, but if there's nobody that can help you, I'm happy to try to give it a crack in any department. The Jacob School, certainly it's easier for me in MAE and with our majors, but I can try other majors too. So feel free to reach out to me.
Right on. Thank you, Jan. Yeah, again, he's a great resource. And I remember, you know, I think it was last year, maybe I can't remember, but I remember you helped a student who went to the University of Bordeaux, and it was all in French or something. You did the extra mile for that one, definitely. Not any faculty would be willing to do that. And so, yeah, definitely, you know, like Jan said, it takes coordination with your advisors and with your faculty. And so we, again, want to make sure that you are taking courses that'll work. And a lot of times what advisors and faculty need to see is actual course content. If you can get your hand on the syllabus or some kind of course description that says in enough detail what the course is about, that'll really help them make their judgment on whether or not they can accept it. Because sometimes students might come to their advisor with just course titles, and that really doesn't help that much. And so try to find the course descriptions, which again, you can find in the UCAP course database. They'll have their little course descriptions, but a lot of times on the actual school's website under the engineering departments or wherever, they'll offer some actual more substantive course syllabi that can help figure out, okay, yes, we can accept this course for whatever course here at UCSD. You have a question, are the international internship programs paid? That's an easy question to answer. No, they're not paid, unfortunately. Yeah, that's such a hard thing for us in study abroad. You know, you guys are getting offered paid internships here in California, and how can we compete with that? Well, you know, again, it's just the experience. You know, if you want to experience life abroad, I was talking to an engineering student the other day who wants to aspire to live in Europe, and so he wants to study abroad there to kind of dip his toes in. There's a lot of reasons to pay for an internship, not only for your resume, but just for the experience of an international global internship. But unfortunately, no, there aren't paid internships that we offer. That being said, there are some opportunities, like I was talking to somebody the other day about the German Academic Exchange, known as DAAD, offers internships in Germany where they would pay for your housing or some basic per diem. And that might be an opportunity to get a paid internship or to be able to study or do an internship in Germany free of your costs. And so there's some options like that. Fulbright is certainly an option. That's more after you graduate. But yeah, there's different options that sometimes we see engineering students pursue. And let's see, I think I covered, if you have any more questions, definitely pop them in the Q&A. We have about 9 minutes left. We can end early if there's no questions, but if I can kind of pull from my own memory bank, some questions that I typically get is, what about housing? Just know that every program that we deal with, the housing is different. A lot of times students will live on campus in dorms or right by campus in flats or apartments, often with other international students or exchange students. If you're going to be taking like a language immersion course program or something like that, sometimes you would live with a host family. It just depends. So when you're researching the program, you're going to want to look at housing options and how you might be living. In terms of paying for it all, going back to the financial aid discussion, I know that there's a budget worksheet that our office and Tina, our financial aid advisor, will help you fill out, because sometimes there's those X factors. How much will this cost really depends on how you live. You think about, before COVID, you were on campus, and here in La Jolla, if you went out to eat every single day and you went out partying every single weekend, the cost of college is going to be different from the student who cooked, food in their apartment or didn't go out all the time. And so sometimes how you live kind of makes a big difference. And so these big European cities or Asian cities, there's a lot of free options that study abroad students do. And so, there's a lot of different ways to study abroad. And so that's a conversation that we would have with you in terms of finances and how to pay for it and all of that good stuff. Yeah, so I hope I covered everything. I probably didn't, but that's okay. You can talk to me. If you get on our website, there's a link for our virtual front desk, and we're open during the week, and you can connect with the virtual front desk and say, hey, I want to talk to Jay. I'm an engineering student. You can get on my calendar. I'd be more than happy to chat with you about what your questions are and kind of steer you in the right course. And then I'll usually bounce you over to Jan. And I made 2 more referrals for you yesterday, Jan. I know you're a busy man, but hopefully you can do all that. Again, as many resources as you can. I mean, that's what we're here to do, is to help you kind of navigate the way and figure out how to go abroad. So thank you all for your attention. Alejandra, is there something you wanted to say to close us out?
No, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And thank you, Jay and Jan and John, who had to leave a little bit earlier for class. As a reminder, the YouTube video, the recording of this workshop will be posted on our Idea Center YouTube channel. And then, Jay, I'll make sure to share the link with you once it's up.
Thank you. And I'll post it on our site as well.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, thank you all so much, and have a great Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.